Welcome to our travel channel, where in this series we travel from Auckland to Honolulu, then spend 10 days in New York before flying to Miami to board the cruise ship Vision of the Seas for our trip to Los Angeles via the Panama Canal. We decided to fly to Miami, leaving from LaGuardia Airport, which is only a 15-minute Uber ride from Harlem in Manhattan, where we were staying. In just under 3 hours, we arrived in Miami and took our booked shuttle to the Holiday Inn Hotel, which is conveniently located near Royal Caribbean's cruise ship terminal. This was my second visit to Miami and Susan's first. We decided only to stay overnight and not explore the city, which has a population of about 500,000. Check-in was easy and soon we were in our room, which had a view of the port, and we could see our cruise ship, which is always a good sign. That evening we took a stroll over to Bayside Marina to have dinner and a look around. Pizza and ice cream was the decision. It was party central at the marina, and the only problem with that was that neither of us are party animals, so we didn't stay long and went back to the hotel. The next morning checkout was quick, but there was a big wait to be transferred to the ship due to the fact that about 2,500 people had to check in for boarding. In the meantime, we were suitably entertained by the hotel's water feature and reminded that it was Halloween in about 2 weeks' time. By about 2 p.m. we had boarded the Vision of the Seas, and not long after had access to our room and ordered the bed to be configured as a twin. Then it was time to look around the ship and wait for the sail away party at 4 p.m. With the hundreds of thousands of passengers that have travelled on Royal Caribbean's Vision of the Seas, you'll find a room by room, deck by deck, restaurant by restaurant explanation of the ship elsewhere. In this episode, we're only going to cover a few general points of interest, including our sail away experience and our departing views of Miami. In just over 100 years, Miami has gone from a mosquito-ridden mangrove swampland into a major cosmopolitan city. With its world-renowned beaches, unrivaled nightlife and Latin flavour, in the 1920s Miami's scene was a winter destination. But as more Cuban exiles made Miami their home, the population skyrocketed and the city became a magnet for all Latinos, and Spanish became the unofficial second language. Hey Susan, there's a plane taking off.
Wow, it takes a long time to
get
lift,
it must be the drag on the water, eh? The US Coast Guard's big gun was impressive. I bet he was just itching to try it out. Soon it was our turn to navigate the main channel and head out into the open seas, and it was goodbye to Miami. Don't think it's as big as ours.
So, what are you doing? Are you just doing the cruise?
Yes, yeah. And my husband, he's got family in Los Angeles, auntie and cousins. Auntie is 84.
Over the next 17 days we would visit Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, Guatemala and Mexico before returning to the USA. And for the next 2 days we would be at sea cruising from Miami to Cartagena in Colombia while exploring the ship Vision of the Seas.
Going down.
Going down.
Everybody going home today?
I felt at home when I heard my favourite piece of music being played. We would come here pretty well most nights for a brief sample of the party mood. Emphasis on brief sample.
From Montenegro, one from Morocco, one from Myanmar, one from Nepal, one from the Netherlands, one from New Zealand, 7 from Nicaragua.
There seemed to be no limits to the entertainment organised by the cruise director, who was also a talented singer. In another part of the ship you could enjoy a big band sound and a dance. Then there was the theatre, where you could relax or stare into your phone or even watch a show. And finally, even the catering staff put on a show for us in the 1,240 seat dining room, celebrating 50 years of operation.
We want to celebrate with you. For the past 50 years, we have built a lot of traditions and leading the cruise industry. In 1970, we introduced the first ship, the Song of Norway. In 2009, we introduced Oasis of the Seas with the first amphitheater, the first zip line, and the beautiful Central Park. And in 2019, we are proudly presenting our private island, Perfect Day at Coco Key. 50 years later, we're still pushing the limits with you, our guests beside us. Here is to you, our celebration tonight.
A cake was baked mapping our voyage, but was mostly eaten by the time I spotted it. And talking about food, whether we dined in the Windjammer buffet or the main dining room, the meals were just out of this world. There was also all-you-can-lick free ice cream available as well. There's always a price to pay with this sort of living, and guess what? I put on 2 kilograms for the duration of the trip, and Susan, well, that's a closely guarded secret. Some guests were able to increase their body mass index hugely, and they would blame other factors other than food intake. To help combat the bulge of the belly, I played table tennis with 20 others on the sea days. The consequence of all this was that I ended the cruise with a sack full of medals, being the ship's champion. On one evening we witnessed a dazzling lightning display at sea. Perhaps the worst job on the ship was standing 3 hours at a time by the pole, even though no one was using it. The sea days were never boring. It also gave me an opportunity to practice my selfie technology. A frequent sight on the ship was seeing future versions of ourselves. So we hope you enjoyed following along with us on the cruise ship Vision of the Seas. And in our next episode we arrive at Cartagena in Colombia.